Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Stock Talk Thursday. It is May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. Got a crazy couple days in the market, so we're going to go ahead and dissect that, look at a couple different stocks, see what's hot, see what's not. Got a bonus not hot stock for you today. Just came across it, honestly, a few minutes ago. I was like, oh, that's too good not to add in there. So just kind of got an extra freebie in there just because. But let's go ahead and, guys, if you have comments or questions, throw those in there. There have been some times you guys have asked some really good questions, have given us some really good things to talk about, some good learning opportunities. So whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, there should be an opportunity to throw those comments and questions in there. All right, let's jump in and let's take a look at what's been going on in the overall market here. So pretty big day down today. But that's following a really big up day yesterday. Yesterday was up over 100 points. Now today we're down over 100 points. So what's been going on? Well, yesterday we had this big thing called the Fed announcement. This happens about once a month. Just basically put, this is where the Fed announces certain money policy things that are going on, certain things that they see coming up, like interest rates. Are they going to raise interest rates? What are certain decisions they're going to make, and those decisions can have major impacts on the overall economy and the stock market. So generally on a day where the Fed is making an announcement, we tend to see a very volatile day, and usually it'll, the market will either swing really far down or swing really far up. And honestly, it's a bit of a gamble because we just don't know what they're going to say beforehand. We can speculate as to what we think they might say, but it's on at Tradeway we teach it might be best to be out of your positions, or at least reduce some of your positions when the Fed announcement happens, because it has a similar effect on the whole market as an earnings report would. And so with that kind of volatility, we lose a little bit of our edge as far as which direction we think the market may go, or our particular stocks may go. And so we need to be very careful. Yesterday, what the Fed said was very, it was received very well in the market. You can see that even though we've been moving down, and the last week has been, we've seen some this 4 massive red candlesticks down. And then yesterday, a really big move up, taking out these 2 red candlesticks. So very big move up yesterday. You can see that the market did find a little bit of support here at about 4,100, just above 4,100 actually. Got that big move up on the Fed announcement, but how far did it go? Look at this. It ended right at the 4,300 level. In fact, let's take a look and see. I'm going to be looking up here. The top left there, or actually it's right in here. You see these numbers: open, high, low, close. So let's look at that. Right now, I'm looking at yesterday's candlestick, and we closed. Oh my goodness, look at this. I didn't even know this. 4,300.17. I mean, this is almost right on the money, guys. This is a little bit fascinating right here. And that 4,300 level is significant. Look at this. In the last couple of weeks here, we've had 4,300 be resistance. You go back into this area right here, 4,300 was resistance. Just before that, 4,300 was support. You come back in here. Now we're in, let's look at this. What do we got? January. Late January here, 4,300 was support. How far back does that go? Let's expand this some. 4,300 level. Oh, wow. Look at this. Here we go. For October now, 4,300 level was support. And then back in here was a little bit of resistance. And I think that was the start of it. But there's a lot of history at this 4,300 level. This 4,300 level is very significant. Probably the most significant line I have on my chart right now. So 4,300 point on the S&P, that's the overall market here, is a very significant level to watch. And that is exactly where the market went up to yesterday and stopped. That's where it ended. It just peaked above it just barely, and it came right back down within 17 cents of a point to 4,300. So anyway, all that to say, very very important line, a line that the stock has pivoted on both above and below. So it's used it as support and resistance before. And I was thinking yesterday afternoon after the market closed, I would not be surprised if the market moved down today. The overall market has shown that it's kind of wanted to move down. You know, we've got a high, a low, a lower high now, and this was a lower low. So it's saying, it's giving more indicators for moving down than it is moving up. Generally, after a big move up, there tends to be some profit taking, some pullback. And so when you have a market that is shifting more downward and you get a big candlestick up, I would expect there to be some pullback. And you add in the fact that we have this 4,300 level that is so significant. I'm not surprised it moved down today. Now, I didn't know it was going to move down this much. You know, I was thinking, hey, maybe like a candlestick this size, that size, something like that. And I wouldn't be surprised if we had been at, say, 42.50 right now. But no, we're all the way down to 41.60, and that's after a pretty significant bounce. It made it down as low as about 41.25 or so, or right around there. So it's hit that support level and it's already bounced up a little bit. We'll have to see, does that hold, or will we eventually break this support level, you know, possibly even tomorrow, and start making even lower lows. So a lot going on with the market there. I know that was quite a bit to dissect. We're almost halfway through our time here, but this was really important to hit. I really want to cover some of those things for us. So with that being said, let's take a look and see how our last week's stocks, our hot stock and not stock, how did those fare with everything going on in the market? So let's take a look. Last week's hot stock was KMB, Kimberly Clark Corporation. And you remember we had this pretty sizable gap up on earnings. And as of last week, when we were meeting, that gap line was holding. That's pretty significant. Gap lines, there's kind of a saying out there, gaps are gifts. Gap lines are significant lines to keep in mind. That line did not hold. So it did break through that. It broke through the 10 and then came back up and closed near the 10. Next couple days, the 10 seemed to hold. Even today, down back again, kissed the 10 and started to bounce up. So there are things about this that are still holding a lot of strength. You know, I'm not going to go out there and say that this is a super hot stock. It did break the gap line. I think we can throw another quick line up here. This can't be ignored. See that? We're just making lower highs. So if we can, it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. We have another bounce off the 10 here. If we can break that downtrending line and start moving up and start closing in on this line should be a little bit higher. Let's bump that up right about there. Closing in on that resistance right there, then, you know, this thing could heat up a little bit. But so definitely still has some strength, but not as hot as what it could be. All right, last week, our not hot stock was ISRG. All right, and we were looking at this line right here that was broken through. And honestly, it's still not hot because it hasn't moved up. But I wonder, has it found some support right in there? Check that line out. That's been holding. That's been holding since last week. So we'll have to see what that does. Now today, again, kind of it's a solid candlestick, but you look at the nasty candlestick that the S&P put out, and this kind of candlestick isn't huge. It's just kind of normal sized. So there's maybe some hope for ISRT, but it's too early to tell. This would not be one that I'd say, yeah, let's just jump in, because that's like catching a falling knife. We want to make it prove to us that it is ready. So for me to start to get bullish on this, and that means if I want to start looking to buy this, If I'm going to be hopeful that this is going to go up, I want to see this thing start making higher highs, higher lows, maybe break this line. So, if it shows a few weeks of good movement in the direction that we would want, this might be one that I would consider. But as of now, it has still got some work to do. All right, so let's move on to this week. And I went ahead and just, I found my, oops, that's the wrong page. There we go. I found my stocks just the same way that we usually have. Let's see if that holds true again. So the last week, what has been up? What has been up? I mean, here we go. We're looking at the industry chart right here in the top right. There's only one industry that has been up in the last week. Even with that Fed announcement, well, I guess today's candle is pretty much taken out yesterday's Fed announcement candle. So what are we left with? Energy. Energy is the only one that's been up. So that's what I went with. Here we go. Let's go back to the heat map. Let's make that bigger. We're looking at the last week again. You can even just looking at this right here, it's pretty clear to tell what is the industry that's up. We'll just find the green clusters. You get green clusters right down here in energy. So there we go. From here, I went ahead and let's use the filter, and let's see if we can filter out some of the lower ones that are the lower percentage ones have gone up, and let's leave the ones that are higher up. So let's filter it a little more. I went a little bit too far. What I'm looking for, might have gone down a little bit. Here we go. VLO. This is the one that came up in my research. Vlo Valero Energy is going to be our hot stock. So check this one out. So Valero making higher highs and higher lows, nice uptrend. Actually got to the point where it's actually left this uptrending line. You see, we've got 3 touches on our uptrending support line here. And somewhere around the last earnings report, they had a solid earnings, beat it out by quite a bit. It didn't even make it back down to our uptrending support line. Thing just took off. It was a nice uptrend, and then it just launched. And this is a pretty good move up here. I mean, just the last few days from 96 up to 120. I actually didn't even run the math on that. I usually do that for you guys. I love that kind of stuff. We can estimate that, that's going to be about 30-ish% or so move up in just the last couple weeks or so. So that's pretty significant. And where are we now? Well, honestly, it's gotten to the point where it's extended above the 5 exponential moving average. If you have a stock that's riding the 5, it's pretty hot. Look at this right here. It just rode the 5 every day. It's like touch the 5 and move up. Same thing here. Same thing here. Up here, it's not even riding the 5 anymore. It's above the 5. Okay, that is pretty extended. This almost looks like an exhaustion move. And at that point, it's like, wow, this is so hot. Be careful, because it might come down. It might come back down to reality. And when these exhaustion moves happen and the stock comes back down to reality, it can come down in a pretty violent way. It can. There's some examples out there where it was obviously way too hot, and then it's like it fell off a cliff. That's literally what the pattern looks like. So this one, I'd want to be careful with that. Still hot right now, though. I mean, even today, with what the S&P has done, moving down, Valero moved down a little bit, but then has a solid bounce already, just above the 5 there. So Valero looking like our hot stock. One other thing I want to mention on here, don't want to forget, actually a couple things. Let's zoom out here. Earnings. Several earnings reports ago made 48 cents. Next one, $1.22. Next one, $2.47. This last one, $2.31. So last one was down just slightly from the previous one. But you look at kind of this overall direction that it's moving. 4 earnings reports ago was 48 cents of profit, and this last one, $2.31. That's a growth stock. That's what we look for fundamentally. When we're looking at our fundamentals, we are looking for growth stocks. This one is a growth stock. So that's exciting stuff to look at right there. Let's look at one other thing. Let's look at a 3-year weekly chart. Okay, yeah. And there we go. There's my drawing tools. Check out the highs right here back in 2019 and then how that correlates to today. So I'm going to drop a line right in there. And you can see that we have blown through that. Okay, so we got to up here right around the $100 mark just a few weeks ago. Again, right now, every candlestick is representing 1 week. So this is a pretty historical line right here. Back in 2019, that was the high, and then came up here, and since we've gone above that now, it just exploded. So that can happen sometimes. You break a solid resistance line, and then just boom, it's like the skies are clear for that stock. It's just going to run up. So that happens a lot of times, and you can see that happened here as well. Just a little fascinating thing. Check this out. Look at all these green earnings boxes. Just keeps beating the estimated earnings. Either Valero's not good at estimating their earnings, or they just keep doing better every single quarter than what they expected. So anyway, that is our hot stock for the day or week. Our not hot stock, we're going to do the same thing. Let me change back to 6 months. There we go. Back here, look at this last week. And what is the industry that is the least hot, or the not hot industry? I mean, which one's down the most? Let's just keep it simple. Which one's down the most? We got real estate right here, which is a little crazy to think about, because we all know what real estate prices in the country have done. They've just been going just bonkers, just up. But in the last week, the overall real estate industry, as far as the stock market goes, has pulled back some. So let's take a look and see what we got going on there. So let me reset my filters. There we go. Real estate right down in here. And then same thing, let's use our filters to find what is going to be the worst. Here we go. So we are left with 2. So PLD is down 14.9%, and then DRE down 14.2%. Really, really close. When I was looking at this yesterday, I chose Duke Realty Corporation. So let's take a look at that one. All right, so here we go. A couple of things to look at. The last couple weeks have been pretty nasty, right? It was up at 62. Now we're down at 51. Today's candlestick, pretty nasty. Coming up right on this low. That's pretty cool. Let's draw a line right there. That's worth. Let's do it right on the bottom of that wick. That will be interesting to see at the end of the day if that holds as support, or if it breaks through that. And it could hold as support for a few days and then break through it later on. So that is a possibility as well. But it's an $11 move down on what was a $62 stock. So you're over 20% down right there, just in the last couple weeks. So in the short term, it's not hot. But what about the longer term? Well, let's expand our view real quick here. I want to expand a little bit more, actually. Look at this. This thing was hot, right? I mean, real estate. Of course it was hot. Real estate's been going crazy. So really nice moves up, higher highs, higher lows, really big run up here. If you would have had an uptrend line, I think on the 3-year, I was looking at an uptrend line at one point. We could do something close to that. I threw that on there pretty quickly, but something close to that. And then you look at this, and that's pretty far extended, right? So it had been moving up really nicely, and then it came down, moved up again. What did it do? It made a lower high and then has come crashing down. And what is the pattern that this stock has made now? The big picture, look, big picture. we have this massive M pattern, M as in Mike. And so M's, they tend to point towards downturns. And if this stock breaks this line right here, and from this point right here, that point, you got that line right there. If it breaks that point and falls through on the M, this could get ugly very quickly. This thing could become very violent coming down because that's what M's tend to do. So in the short term, it is not hot. In the bigger picture, longer term, there is potential. I'm not sitting here telling you that I'm going to forecast the future or anything like that, but we look at historical data to gain a probability of what might be to come, what is likely to come. And if this line breaks, what history tells us is that this can be coming down pretty violently. So in the long term, this has a potential of being not hot as well. So I'm very excited to bring this one up again next week to take a look and see what it has done. If that line has held, maybe it moves back up. Maybe it just wants to start a roll. You never know. But we'll just have to wait and see next week. It's kind of like that cliffhanger, you know, the TV show. It's like, come back next week. But they're just not giving it to you. I just don't know. We just don't know yet. We'll just have to wait and see. So there you go. Another thing, we looked at earnings reports on the previous one. You can see how that was a growth stock. Well, let's look at this one. 4 earnings ago, we had, well, that was five earnings ago, 39 cents, 44 cents, 46 cents, 44 cents, 44 cents. That's pretty stagnant. This is not a growth stock. It's kind of fundamentally, it is just a stagnant stock. Yet, for a lot of this last year, the stock price has been going up pretty significantly. This could have made our hot list a number of times. I mean, this is down from 38 to 66 up there. So it's moved up quite a bit for a fundamentally stagnant stock. So maybe it's time for it to come back down to reality. So we will see what Duke Realty does. And I'm going to throw in our quick bonus now. I'm not going to take too much time on this one, but quick bonus, not hot stock. Take a look at Amazon. We're all familiar with Amazon. Maybe some of these other companies were like, I've never heard of that one, but everyone here has heard about Amazon. I mean, everyone. And, it's been up in this area right here, 3,200 to 3,700, that kind of thing, kind of dropped down a little bit. And then in the last, let's zoom in a little bit here, the last couple months, actually that's just over a month now, month and a half, not even, went from 3,400 down to 2,300. Okay, that's a third of its market cap gone. Pretty big drop right there. So, what's been going on here? Well, one of the things, we have earnings here. They were estimating $8.73 earnings per share, ended up with $4.24, about half. So big miss on earnings. And you can see the big gap here. It closed at around 2,900. Next day opened just below 2,600 and ended up finishing below 2,500. So over $400 drop on Amazon one day. That's pretty big. Moved back up to the 5, got slammed down. Today is pretty nasty day again as well. So that's your bonus, not hot. I just wanted to throw that one in there for fun. All right, next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend, May 13th and 14th, we have Stock Talk Thursday, or not, I'm sorry, that's what we do on Thursday, but 13th, 14th, we have Step 1, Start Your Journey. And so if some of what you've been learning today interests you, there's more that's going to be covered in that. I'm going to pull up a link here real quick for you that if you want to, you can go ahead and register for Step 1, Start Your Journey. There we go. That should be populating there shortly. If you want to learn about the stock market in general, if you want to learn how to trade stocks, if you want to learn some of the patterns that we talked about, if you want to learn about support and resistance lines, all these things that I keep bringing up in the terminology I keep bringing up, if you want to learn how to make money in the stock market, how to potentially create a legacy for your family and change the overall direction for your family, join us for this step one, start your journey. And it's aptly called start your journey because this whole process is a journey. And this is where the fundamentals are taught. This is the foundation of everything. This is where it all starts. So Blair will be teaching that one along with Dave Huber Sr. You guys are familiar with Blair. He does the Market Monday, and he was doing Stock Talk Thursday before I jumped on. If you don't know Dave Huber Sr. yet, he actually taught my first step one Start Your Journey course that I did back in 2019. So you'll be in good hands there. Next week, Friday, Saturday, May 13th, 14th, you can sign up at that link right there. That's going to wrap it up for Stock Talk Thursday today. We'll see you guys next week, Thursday on the 12th, and we'll have to see what's been going on in the market then. See you guys later.